The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everybody, it's Chris here. Warm welcome to you. For me it's the evening, but for a lot of you it's going to be the afternoon. Some of you the morning. So it's just me here on my own. John's not here today. But just so that I can make sure that everyone can hear me okay, can everyone give me a yes if you can hear me? That's great. It's always a bit nerve-wracking when you're doing the webinars and you don't know if everyone can hear you or if something's going to go wrong, what are you going to do? So I can exit from panic mode, so that's good. Let me just set something up for a moment before I start. Okay, so what we're going to be covering today is about content. And I'm going to go straight into this. We're going to cover content and how you can rank easier and even determine what you can rank for even before you've created your content. So that's going to be a good idea to do. But then we're going to go over and introduce a new app that's we've created that's in the members area. That's free for you to use if you're a subscribed member. And then finally a Q&A session. Sorry, excuse me. All right, so let's go straight into this. Can we save the questions until the Q&As, because I'm on my own and I'm not very good at operating the questions and the presentations. I find it hard enough to do just to do the presentation. But anyway, okay, let's go straight away. There were two absolute main ranking factors in Google. Just one second, let me get some water. Won't be a moment. Okay, thank you. Yes, so there's two absolute main ranking factors in Google. So those factors are your content, which is number one. Your content must be a better piece of master content than any other content on the first 2 pages of Google. If it were obviously written by an expert, that's what needs to be done. Something that people would want to share. And it needs to be comprehensive about your subject, and we'll go into subject in a little bit, and specific but comprehensive. So the next one is your backlinks. Now, we're not covering backlinks on this webinar, but anyway, just a quick brief. They've got to be high relevance score, high authority score, high trust score, and a natural profile. But it is the number one that we're looking at right now. So, how to create content worthy to rank position number one. So make sure you create comprehensive expert content. Now, it's got to be laser targeted to a specific subject. The amounts that you have to drill down within your niche has to be laser targeted enough, and it'll vary from niche to niche. So, for example, if you're a plumber in Dallas, Texas, then your content, you can write about a whole load of different stuff on your site. Your main thought is to rank your homepage for plumber in Dallas, or phrases that revolve around that anyway. So that I know that's going to be your main focus. But what we're going to cover on the webinar today will help with that as well. But for those of you that have broader subjects, like fishing, for example, then this is going to be great for you as well on how to rank quickly and easily. But also saying that, if you've got a plumber website, the best way to get traffic to that site is you're going to be limited to the amount of traffic you can get to the homepage, because the homepage will only rank for a certain number of phrases. But there's a whole other part of the website that you can gear up to rank for different phrases. And if the site has articles or pages or a blog section, then that's ideal, because you can then generate whole new avenues into the website. That's what you need to do. Create web avenues into the site, and those avenues are the avenues your traffic will come to from. Okay, so let's have an example here. Let's say I have an Amazon affiliate website in the fishing niche. The question, could I rank that affiliate website for the keyword fishing? So what does anyone think? Do you think that could be done? Do you think you could do that? Daryl says not a chance. Lee says no. Absolutely right. There's no chance of that, is there? Really? It's not only is it a highly chased after e-commerce phrase, but all of the super high authority sites are already hugging that spot. So it's going to be, just forget it. It's just not going to happen. Okay, so if I have to drill down and pick something specific about fishing, such as fishing hooks, for example, but even that's not targeted enough, possibly. All right. So let me give you, I'll go into more detail now on this, but really I should be creating a post, something like fishing hooks for trout. Okay, so that now we're getting to something a bit, a specific niche of a niche. All right, so let's have a look deeper at this. Not that one, this one. Okay, let's go here. First of all, let's do some keyword research. I'm going to show you, I'm in the KW Finder, so I've got the keyword fishing in, and I'm looking in the United States. So just to show you what we were talking about, can we rank for this phrase? Well, these are the details here of the top ranking. That it's Wikipedia's ranking for fishing. It's got a domain authority of 97 and a page authority of 78. These here are KW Finder's score, which is their link profile score, which they've given to it, which is a good score, a good indication. And it's just not going to happen. You're not going to rank for this. It's not anything that's at all possible, really. Not for the average person with an average authority site. So, but we already know that. Let's go and drill down a touch. Trout fishing. All right, now we're going a bit deeper into a niche. We're no longer looking at fishing. We're looking for a specific type of fish. So look at these though. Even these are quite high. We've got, this is an authority site, domain authority 91, page authority 50, very high there. These are all very high. And again, it's going to be very hard to break into what you would have thought would be a simple one to rank for. When you see this, by the way, 40, possible, it is possible to do that, but it's going to be very hard to do. Not so much hard, but it's going to be costly, and Google's going to have to, depending on where your site is in the authority scale, Google's got to assess your site. You're not going to rush up and into the rankings, no matter how many authority backlinks you're going to throw at the site, because Google wants to assess you before it lets you have that first page spot. So Google doesn't throw up sites onto the first page like it used to. So really, for the majority of us, even this phrase is going to be too targeted. Too tough. So let's go and drill down a bit deeper. Let's look now at, this one, brown trout fishing. So we were looking at trout fishing. Now let's look at brown trout fishing. Now this is a bit different. This is looking a lot healthier. Um, in the past, when SEO was a lot simpler, you would look at key phrases and you'd look at these and think, well, I'd really like to get to this one here, the 14,000 key phrase. So let's go and rank for brown trout. You'd pile in thousands of links and you'd rank. That's how it worked. It was a link war back in the early days of the internet. But it wasn't long after, getting towards the, I think it was about 2007 thereabouts, maybe 2010, when things changed drastically, and all of these different pandas and penguins came in, and the big change happened when Google brought out the Hummingbird, which is the algorithm. Sorry, it's the search engine, which Google analyzes what people are actually really looking for. So that's when things really changed. That was, I think, that was around about 2012. I think roughly something like that. So anyway, brown trout fishing. This is something which we can look at. So what actually are we up against? Well, the number one spot has a domain authority of 31, page authority of 26. Well, you can think, well, there's only 390 searches a month, so that's not a lot. Well, what else is there that you could rank for? Possibly. Well, there's brown trout lures, brown trout bait, best brown trout lures, and you can add all of these up. There's probably a whole load more down here. Brown trout flies. Well, if you add up all of those, you probably come to a couple of thousand. But what we're looking to do, though, is create a post on brown trout fishing. And we can optimize that, the content of it, optimize it really well to be better than anyone else's. And we don't need to have, if we've got some authority in the site, we don't have to beat much. So actually, if we can increase the authority of our site and our content is expert content, we could rank without any backlinks. So now we're into a whole new way of doing SEO with no backlinks. You won't be able to get rid of backlinks because you need to get your domain authority of your entire site up. And if you do some good interlinking, some clever interlinking, then you can help your posts as well. So we covered interlinking in the SEO breakthrough training in the module step 1. So let's have a look a bit further of what the competition is all about. If you've got KEW Finder, which you'll find the link in the SEO Breakthrough website, but you'll be able to do Analyze SERP. If you click on this, it brings up the top 10 with some other information here. So you can have a look at that. And what we're looking at is to see the meta title. So the meta title is very important. If you're creating a piece of content, your title has to have the main key phrase. So how to, what is the, I've forgotten, brown trout fishing, yes, trout fishing. How to do brown trout fishing, or something like that. You'd have to work it out what you were going to do, but you would come up. Brown trout fishing would have to come up in the title. Could be 4 steps to expert brown trout fishing, or brown trout fishing, the 4 best top steps, or 4 tips, 4 professional tips, something like that. But you've got to have your title, your main phrase in the meta title. That's the most important. So what's of the top 10 got? So brown trout, not brown trout fishing. So that brown trout fish, brown trout, brown trout. So none of these really have fishing. This one has fishing brown trout. So that's got the words, but in a different order. But that doesn't matter if they're in a different order. Better if they were in the right order, but they do have it. So you've got something there that's brown trout fishing tips. There's a good one. So that's what you need to do from the title perspective. So let's go and have a look at brown trout fishing on the Google page. Now you see I've highlighted this in red. This isn't highlighted on Google. The reason I've highlighted it in red because I want to look at another phrase, which is brown trout lures. So I've highlighted those which are ranking on for this phrase. So this site is also ranking for this phrase here. So there's the red one. So I've got a yellow, red and orange. So if I go here, I've got red, orange and yellow. So those are ranking there. So you know now, before you've even created your post, that you can rank for brown trout fishing and brown trout lures. So you can do that. You know that now because it's being done. So you can do it. If these are people doing it, then so can you. So you can create a piece of content that has those phrases and also has these phrases here. But it has not just have those words in it. It has to be far more than that. You have to have some expert phrases and detail your content. So I'm going to show you the best way to create your content around that. Just before I do that, let me just show you. This is trout fishing. So the only words that are missing from here is brown. Now I've already checked, and none of these sites, none of these domains are ranking for this, but also none of these domains are ranking for these. So it works both ways, or can do. Isn't that interesting? These high authority are not ranking in here. I don't think I've missed any. I'm pretty sure I haven't, but I didn't see any of those that were ranking for those. So what you can do is you can quickly put out content. You can quickly do a content on this post. You can do it probably within an hour, maybe or 2 hours, to get something up that for an asset that's going to last for the lifetime of your website. All right, let's go and have a look at creating the content. How do you create content very quickly, and content that is amazing content that's going to be way better than anyone else's? Oh, actually, before I do that, I want to have a look at how powerful this one is. I want to see how easy it is to rank for. So how to catch any fish / brown trout. That's in Majestic. And that's this one here, ranking at the top for brown trout fishing. So the actual post itself has no backlinks. So let's have a look at the domain. So the domain itself has quite a few backlinks, 7,000. That's nothing to be concerned about. It's got 131 referring domains. That's what's important, not how many backlinks. It's the number of referring domains. So that's a decent number. And it's got a trust flow of 15. Well, if you look back at the this one here, it's got a domain authority of 31, which is decently average, and page authority of 26, which is very average. So it's very doable to beat this site, and that's what you need to look at if you're looking to see what you're realistically going to be able to rank above your competition, and you want to rank with least effort. So let's look at putting the content together. Actually, let me just check something. Oh yeah, I want to just go over this first. Now this is just want to show you trout fishing, the top ranking for trout fishing. Well, I had a look on Majestic just to see what the competition is. Well, that post that's ranking for trout fishing, which you'd have thought was doable for ranking up, has only got two referring domains. Not many. So you could think, well, I could beat two backlinks, but actually you have to look further than that in your keyword research, because you have to look at the domain itself. What sort of authority is behind this post? So if we look at just the domain, which is this, there's 31 million backlinks. But as I said, backlinks alone is not as important. It's the number of referring domains, and it's a huge number, 63,000. This is a very high authority site, even though the trust flow is low, because historically, Moz, domain authority, has been equal to the Google PageRank. So this would be a PageRank of 8 or 9. And historically, Moz has always been close to Google PageRank. When we had access to PageRank, the PageRank tool, you could see that if there was a domain authority of between 40 and 50, it would be a PageRank of 4, usually. Round about that. It would be very close, quite accurate. So that's why you can look at this and gauge roughly what the page rank is going to be. So it's high. And so I wouldn't go by the trust flow when looking at these to see what sort of authority from Google's perspective is. Go from the Moz domain authority. So it's very high with this number of referring domains. Now this one here is at the bottom of the first page. This is the shopcarls.com. So scroll to the bottom. Oh no, it's near the bottom. It's not at the bottom. So I pick one near the bottom, towards the bottom. So it's midway. Sorry, yeah, it's midway. So the midpoint one. I just picked one out. And so that post itself has 10 referring domains, not a huge number. If we look at the domain, it's got over 1,000 referring domains. So right through the page, or right from the top to midway anyway, it's quite tough. It's tough competition, as you can see. So that's how you do your research of what you're up against. So you're looking at authority. You're looking at content, such as the meta title, and you're seeing across the board how doable it is to rank for. So I've already determined now, let's close some of these, what I want to do for my post. So I'm going to now have a look at how to find amazing content. So the amazing content I'm going to do is looking at this link here. So this link here is this post here. So what I did, I just opened up the post and I opened up a text file. And all I did was wrote down, so brown trout description. I did that too. So I could have put that it's originally, brown trout's originally from Europe. So I could have put that in. And so the cousins of the rainbow trout can exceed 40 pounds, but very rare. So I see that down here. 4 pounds is a decent catch. So I just picked out notes, picked out bullet points really, and then going to the catch. So the catch here, brown trout tackle. Yeah. So use light action spinning rod. And then picked out on the line, and then where to catch them. When river fishing, fish behind boulders, because they lurk there for the food. So I picked that out. It was easy. I just read it. Oh, well, that's a bullet point. Pick that out as a bullet. Then there's another bullet, and there's another. And then techniques. Well, I'll put that under catch. Further down, brown trout lures. Well, that's important. That's what you're going to catch. That's what they're going to bite onto. So lures. That's important. So picked up information on there. Just picked out bullet points. Brown trout will eat spinners and spoons. Okay, whatever they are. I'm not a fisherman. Brown trout will eat spinners and spoons and other bits and pieces. And then it went on to baits, where to catch brown trout, where to catch them, White River in Arkansas, away from people because they don't bite when there's a lot of people around. They must be very shy. And then some resources. So resources, then I've got that as well. But I could find other resources as well. All right, so if I go back to the PowerPoint, before I go on further and go through that, I just want to recap. First of all, drill down into your niche and find a micro niche. So brown trout fishing, that's what we've done here. Do keyword research to determine if there are a number of phrases that one single post could rank for. So we looked at a few. There were a few that were possible in the keyword research tool, but we looked specifically at brown trout fishing and brown trout lures. So we could rank for both of those with one page because other posts are doing that. Okay, so remember, if your domain authority is good, oh no, just last one, check to make sure it's easy to rank for. So we did that by checking out the keyword difficulty in the tool. So remember, if your domain authority is good, so you've got a good domain authority on your site, you can rank for a ton of posts with very few backlinks. As you saw when we looked at a lot of those didn't have any backlinks that were ranking. You can't do that on the tougher competition. You can if you're doing this process, which I'm showing you. So it's easier to do SEO like this and rank for a load of posts which are very laser targeted than it is trying to rank for the #1 spot in a competitive key phrase. So the conclusion there is not everyone's going to be able to do SEO like that, but you can try. Now, if you have to focus on a competitive phrase, your content still needs to be expert content because if you do that, then you're optimizing it. So you're positioning to rank, basically. The expert content is content that includes words and phrases that an expert would know about. Now, I'm not a fisherman, but I looked at that post and I picked out 2 important things which were starting points of expert phrases. I'll come to that in a moment. So the first thing you do is take notes from the top 1 to 3 ranking sites. Well, I've just done it from 1 in this research. I just did it from that one post, I got these notes here. Then pick out the main phrases, topics, and list them. Well, the main topics are these, which I took out. So looking these are the points here from the notes I took. So I've put them all onto the PowerPoint. These are all my bullet points I can write content about, but I haven't finished here. This is just really a backbone of my content. I'll take it further. Focal topic points are brown trout and fishing lures. Those are the key things I want to build my post about, because I know that I can rank for brown trout fishing and brown trout lures because it's being done. So I want to include those both in the post. But if I was looking at the keyword details, I would look at more phrases and see if they were being ranked for on the same post, and then make sure I would include those phrases in my content. And I would not just the phrases, but talk about that and include expert detail, expert phrases, content and phrases. All right, so to find out those expert phrases within these topics, we need to look at using something we've covered before, which is using Wikipedia to find the content, the main phrases. But now we've got a relevant keyword master application, which will do it for you, and so you don't have to do that. And I'm going to demonstrate it. So now I have to say, we put it up and it works. I'll show you it working actually. So it's good to know that it works. However, it doesn't work properly. So we have to do a fix on it. But I'm going to show you it working. I'm going to enter cellulite. All right, so I enter the phrase and then click start. And it's going to take about 20 seconds. That's great when it's working. If you put in another phrase for a long page, it's just not going to work. So we have to fix that. So for a lot of you, you'll probably use this and it's not going to work. All right, so it works for this phrase. I'm going to show it on this phrase. So what you do is download results, and you can decide to open it now or save the file. Well, I'll open it so I can show it to you. And yep, here it is. So this is the detail. These are all of the expert phrases. It's not a big page. This is information here of what this word means. So herniation, this is what herniation is. Okay, but we're talking about fishing, so I'll just get rid of this. I just wanted to show you the app working because it's not working, as I said, properly. So please don't send in any tickets saying it's not working, because we know about it, we're aware of it, and we're going to get it fixed. So let's look at the first one. Well, I put in brown trout, and the page was a long one, and it took a long time to do. But anyway, we worked eventually. But most of the time, if there's a long page, it just isn't going to work. But this one must have been on the borderline. So this is brown trout, as you can see, brown trout up here. What you've got are these expert phrases. You can include these into your content. It doesn't mean anything to me. This one here must be a Latin word or something like that for trout. Anyway, it says sea trout is the common name usually applied to anadromous form. Well, in my research, which I carried out, which I'll show you in a minute, I now know what an anadromous form means. But anyway, I didn't know that before I did this. But what you can do with this is, if you want to take these phrases and you want to include these into your post, which should do, or at least a good number of them, not all of them, because all of them won't be relevant necessarily to your post. But I might want to include Andromedas. Well, I didn't know what Andromedas was. So this is how you would do your research. You see a word, copy it, go to Google, and enter in the phrase, and then enter in your keyword which you searched, which was brown trout. Brown trout. So the reason I'm doing that, well, actually, I don't think I have to put it in exclamation marks, but it might help because it will help get it more. So it's Andromedas plus in speech marks brown trout. See if that does anything different. Probably doesn't. And anyway, I can have a look at these quickly. I can look at these descriptions. So this doesn't give me a lot of information from the description. Nor does that. Okay, this one does. Upstream and downstream migrating Andromedas brown trout. So that gives me an idea that it's going up and downstream. But I can still do a search, that, and definition. The fish, such as the salmon, migrating up the rivers from the sea to spawn. Well, there you go. So that's I'm now an expert on brown trout because as far as Andromedas goes, because I now know that it goes from the sea up the river like a salmon, because I've got that from the research. So I can now take that information and put that as part of the brown trout. So now I'm going to fill out my page, my post, that the brown trout is an Andromedas species of fish. And I can go on about what is Andromedas. It goes from the sea up the river, spawns, and then goes away. That's what I get from that. I can take this information and do the same thing, and I can copy that, go to Google, and enter in the scientific name of the brown trout is Salmotruta. Well, that's probably was Wikipedia anyway, so I can have a look at this and decide if I want to use any of that information. If you're not sure where it is, just do a Control F, and then you should be able to find that. Oh, it's just in here. So that's just on this section here. So I can now copy that and put it in my own words. You wouldn't be able to do that all the time on these because, for example, Wales is a country, well, that has something to do with brown trout, but I'm not sure what it is to do with brown trout. It might be where it's found, places where it's found. We can follow through with all of these or with some of these, whatever you want to do to make your content full. Now, when you've got all of your words and you've taken your notes, you will have added to this. You will have added to that. And then you would have the backbone of a post that you can create. And it will be a fantastic post, an amazing encyclopedia worthy piece of content, which is what Google wants to rank at the top of its search engine. And so you just pull those together and construct your killer post. to rank on Google. And that's how you do that. And you would use the tool exactly as I just showed you when I was demonstrating the cellulite phrase. That's it for the presentation. Yep, so that's all finished now. So that's that done. Let me just take the have a look back on the just pulling up the panel. Just 1 second. Right, okay, let me go quiet for a minute while I have a look at some of these. Don't put any questions in yet because I'll be quieter even longer. There's a few people said you lost audio. Hope you didn't miss the webinar. Hope it came back. Anyway, yes, there's going to be a replay. We're going to have a replay. Well, I'm recording it, so they usually record okay. So the replay is going up if the recording works. Yes, that's going to go up. Now, the keyword, relevant keyword master, that's going to be available free of charge if you're a subscribed member. If you cancelled your subscription, you won't be able to have access to it. And obviously if you're not an SEO Breakthrough member, you wouldn't be able to have access to it. But so I've got two questions. Is anyone here not an SEO Breakthrough member and you want to join? If you do, then I can give you a link to join. The other question, so if you want to join SEO Breakthrough, can you put SBT in the chat? If you're not a member of SEO Breakthrough, but you want to become a member of SEO Breakthrough, put SBT in the chat. Okay. And the second question is, if you want to have access to all of the tools, and the tools are the relevant keyword tool, which I just showed you, which doesn't work, Phoenix, also Power Anchor. So of course you need to have purchased SEO Breakthrough first, but then you would have the $17 monthly subscription payments. That gives you access to the relevant keyword tool, the Wikipedia link master, the Phoenix, Power Anchor, I think that's it. Yeah. So you get all of that for $17, access to that. If you haven't got that, if you cancelled, then and you want to join again because you want to have access to that, so can you type sub in the chat, and I'll give you a link so you can join again. Okay, so while you're waiting for that, I just want to take a couple of okay, so now I'm just going to just give me 1 second while I'm going to go quiet again while I do something. But okay. Right, okay, so nearly done. Thanks for bearing with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the subscription link to send it to everybody. So if you're already in, just ignore it. But if you want to, if you typed in sub in the chat because you want to join again, then this is the link. Okay. Right, they're going to be able to go to Q&A now. So thanks for everyone who's still here, and know that some of you have to go. So we're going to be not going to be much longer now, so I won't spend too long on the Q&A. I'm just going to go back over some of these questions. Okay, so Peter's asking, what about ranking for content that can be monetized instead of just informational? Well, if it's, let's say, for example, if it's an e-com site, if you've got a page where you're selling sunglasses or watches, whatever, then that's going to be really tough to do, and it's hard to get a page like that to rank if it's just a page of watches, for example. And what that page is reliant upon is the authority of the rest of the site. So what you need to do is create a blog section and create amazing content on there, and get some backlinks to it, because you're not going to be able to get authority without the backlinks. You look at Amazon, so you look at how many links Amazon have got. Actually, let me do a quick Amazon.com. Let's see how many backlinks or referring domains they have. So they've got 2 million referring domains, an astronomical number. Let's have a look at eBay. 500,000, just about. Again, an astronomical number. So those have authority. If you start looking at other sites that just sell watches, for example, and there's no content on the page, but they're ranking, they're going to have authority. And they're getting authority because they're getting backlinks. And they're getting backlinks somehow, probably not to that page about watches, but it'll be somewhere else on the site where they're getting links. So you have to do that. Back to the question then, is you'd have to create some content somewhere and get links to that. You have to make sure that you do some linking. So let's say, for example, you've got a watch page, then you can create a post about watches. You can do exactly what I've shown you on the trout fishing, brown trout fishing, but in regards to your watches. So you might have Seiko watches, and you do a post about Seiko watches, but maybe even deeper, maybe even more targeted than Seiko watches, because that's very broad, isn't it? And that's how you would approach that. So Agnes is asking, can we use this on other languages? Well, you can use this process that I've talked about on it with other languages, because you're looking to rank in those. If you're looking at KW Finder, so if we look at this, for example, you can select a limited number of countries. So you can use these to do your research. If you want to use France, for example, if it's French, then you would have to probably go and do this manually in google.fr, and I think that's French, but anyway, you go to that, and then you would have to go through this process and enter this information into Moz, or a site that uses Moz, lets you get metrics about Moz, and put all of those in. Use the Moz toolbar, for example, and get that information. So it's just a bit more legwork. But you can do this process on those. If Wikipedia's only in English, so you wouldn't be able to do the Wikipedia, and the app wouldn't work for another language either. It just works for English. Okay, just working out some more questions. Right, Daniel, I'll just send you a link. Just 1 second. Okay, so Chris is saying he's not clear about the benefit of the app. Okay, you can do it manually. He's saying not sure about the benefit of the app. You could do this manually, which is just as time consuming. You can do it manually. Yes, of course you can. We teach that in the step 1 of the training. What the app does when it's working, you don't have to search for those phrases. It just has them there for you in the sheets just here. So it's all down there, it's listed. Just quick, that's all. And you can just then copy the information you see, just run through it, copy it, do a search in Google, that plus trout fishing, and then you find out what the relation is between the two. So you can do this manually, but it is a bit quicker with the app. But it's up to you if you want to use it. Of course, you don't need to use it. It's there if you want to. I'm just going through. I'm going quiet because I'm just reading some of the questions. So Eric's asking, what's a great domain authority, page authority of competitors you can definitely outrank with these expert posts? It all depends. It all depends on the authority of your site when you're starting. If you've got a brand new site, well, obviously you have 0 authority, so you're not going to be able to beat anything. You need to be able to get close to where they are. If your site is a Moz domain authority of 10 and the number 1 spot is a domain authority of 30, you're still going to struggle. You have to get closer. It's not possible to give you an exact figure that you can pro rata across the board. You have to get close. So if the top ranking spot has a domain authority of 30, you'll try and get your site to at least a domain authority of 20-ish, or a bit more than that, which isn't going to be hard to do. You'll be able to do that. It won't take too long to get to that level, and then you'll be able to create much better content that's expert content like we've talked about, and then you'll be able to outrank them. But remember, things don't happen overnight. You have a slow movement from Google, but it's progressive. That's what happens. Gone are the days of fast rankings. of a site. If you're an authority site already, you can create a post and you can go right in onto the first page. But that's a site that already has authority. But if you're not at that stage and you're creating a post, then it might not hit there straight away, and you might have to wait and build up your site's authority. So if you create a post and you have a low authority, you can build up your site's authority, and while you're doing that, you'll be increasing your rank of the post you've just created. So you don't have to wait to get authority before you do these posts. Just do these posts, build the authority of your home page and your other important pages, and make sure you do good in linking. So the question, when are we planning to release the content creator? It's not actually the content creator, Steve, but I know the one you mean. It's we're having some real problems on it, and we're having some problems with the coder. So we have to work through that one yet. I'm not sure. We were hoping to have it done this year, but I'm not sure if it's going to be finished in this year now. So Lee's saying, is this the same as using LSI in your content? So LSI stands for latent semantic something, and it's not latent semantic in terms. I think that's what it's called. But anyway, it's not that. No, it's expert phrases. They're not words that seem like that, like another word. They are actually words that you would expect to see within a specific subject. So if I have well, if you think of the word cellulite, in the key phrases you have sebaceous fat and connective tissue, estrogen. All of those are expert phrases that you would expect to see in a post about cellulite because they're all connected to it. They're not LSI. So Eric's saying, what's if you have a local client service page that has loads of backlinks already, would adding expert article below the main content help? Obviously what they have on the page already is tightly relevant to the service they offer. So the home page, you can't rank a page for a mass load of phrases. It doesn't work. I mean, you can see if you have a local site, for example, if let's say Dallas, you put in locksmith Dallas, and then you type in 24-hour emergency locksmith Dallas, you'll probably see other sites ranking, or you might not see the same site ranking for both phrases because Google won't allow it. I'm not saying that is the case for that, but it may well be that they will not allow that, and you can't just throw a load of content under your page, even if it is expert content, and expect to rank for a whole load of different phrases on the home page. Well, the home page, you should keep that for your client's page, but you should create or encourage your client to have a blog. So let's say it's a plumber's site. You can have a blog about all different things: how to unblock a toilet, how to fix a leaking sink, or whatever. All of those things are. So someone types in leaking shower Dallas, and you have a post about leaking shower, and you're a plumber in Dallas, then you're going to probably rank for that. That's how you do that. There's another avenue of traffic coming to your site. So yes, the new app gets the phrases from Wikipedia, yes. We wouldn't, so Kevin's asking, would you use this with this process with Spin Rewriter? No, you wouldn't. This process is for writing exceptionally high quality posts to go on your money site. The spun content is you wouldn't spin this type of content. Spinning, if you're using a spinner, you need to use very dull, undescriptive, boring content. You know, it can be good content, but it needs to be dull, as in no similes, no metaphors, just plain basic English. Relevant Keyword Master is a WordPress plugin. Yes, it is. It's a plugin on our site. What's the best way to do linking, Kathy? To go through the SEO breakthrough training. There's different things to do with linking, as in linking authority, foundational linking. So go through the SEO breakthrough training. If you don't have access, then say in the chat, and I'll give you a link. So you could, Liam's saying, can I outsource the content and put in the expert phrases? You could do if you had a good enough writer and to write your content. You can outsource. If it's remember, if it's your money site, then your content, you need to have a good writer or do it yourself, because it's the most important thing to get right as a one thing, because you write it once and then it's done. And whereas backlinks is an ongoing thing, so you want to get that part right. That's important. Yes, this webinar will be added to the members area. Your content, the content that you create, can go on a blog. It can be another page on the site. So when you're creating this content, it can go anywhere you want on your site, depending on how you've got your site laid out. But most of the time, it'll probably be as a blog. Chris is saying, would you link landing pages created for paid search, the main website, to its ranking? Not sure what you're asking. Sorry. So Audrey's saying, can you remind us what's the best way to find those seed keywords that we're easily ranking for, like brown trout fishing? So you go to KW Finder. There's a link in There's a link in the SEO breakthrough. Just put that in here. And certainly, if you're looking for details for the content, so this is the Wikipedia method, which the key relevant keyword master is based on. So you can watch that video if you're not sure of it. It shows you how to find it manually. It does manually what this tool does, basically. Yeah, keyword find. Let me just get this link. So I'm going to put this in the chat, because if you don't have a keyword finder, then you should have that, because it's a very low cost tool. You can even use it for free, and you can do this research. So what you do is you look for your, like, trout fishing, for example. You drill down a bit closer, and you look at different things, and you just think about, well, if you're looking at fishing, what sort of, there's loads of fish, loads of different fish, so you can look at anything. You could look at bass fishing, for example. I don't know what this is going to turn out, but probably going to be some decent numbers. Bass fishing, there you are. There's a lot of fish, a lot of searches for that, but you could find this is a starting point for it, and you can look bass lures, for example. So this is looking a lot better, and you can do the same process like that. It's just drilling down, going deeper and deeper, and if you can do then about something else. So let's say, for example, your niche is guitars. This is going to be very competitive for guitars, obviously, because it's just like one word, and so it's very difficult to rank. Electric guitars is going to be very difficult to rank for as well. So let me just show you about drilling down. So extremely hard electric guitars. Let's have a look at Fender electric guitars. So it's getting a bit easier, but it's still quite hard. So drill down even more. Fender Stratocaster electric guitar. It's still going to be competitive. So you drill down and down even more, and see, just have a look at some of these, and when you're looking through these, you'll be able to get some inspiration. That's the best way I can say it. Talk about it. So you might want to talk about like tuning a Fender Stratocaster, or something so that you've gone deeper and deeper into the niche, and then you do something, you create a post on that, and you create other posts. So the idea is to be ultra targeted, so that you rank with least effort, with hardly any effort. That's the idea behind it. Just reading some questions now. So the question about keyword finder, you might just look at this and think, well, if this is possible to rank for, or it might be like this and easy. Well, that's just a guide. That's a guide to find out how hard it's going to be. But the way to do it is like I showed in the just earlier on this evening, that you look at first look at these scores. Well, the top ranking one is a score of 28. If you hover over this, it'll tell you what that score is about. It's the overall link profile, which is an algorithm by the company doing this tool. So they take a number of factors in and they give a score to it. But all of these are fairly low. So if most of these are in the green, then the likelihood is you're going to be able to rank very easily. If all of these are orange, then it wouldn't be an easy rank unless you have a site that has good authority already. Your authority needs to be, I think a good guide would be the authority, the domain authority of your site needs to be at least the average of the top half of these. So remove the 62 because that skews the results. But the other ones here really gives you an idea, and you should be the average of these to be in the ballpark of the domain authority. That's really the best idea to look at that. And if you were looking at this one here, which is fishing, well, the average is very high. And so you could, as a very broad gauge, say, well, my domain authority needs to be around about 48. That's just a very rough guide if you're going to stand any chance of ranking for this phrase. But that's just a gauge, like I say, but follow through like I showed you. Okay, Peter saying, if Google search index shows keywords that you rank for on lower pages, how would I make Google aware of the improved content? Well, Google will continually crawl your page. It'll crawl your site, regardless of whether you've changed anything. It or not. So it will just come and crawl because it will do that. So if you do make a change, Google will be aware of it, and they'll probably visit your site at least once a week, I'd say, maybe more than that. Okay, so I think that's it now. I think we can wrap up. So let's see. I've got one more question coming. Yeah, Eric's saying, so the recap would be gather main ideas, bullets from the top 1 to 3 top ranking pages of content, and then add expert phrases from the app on top of that to create a post for your own content. Yes, that's correct. That's the recap. That's well done. I want to thank everybody who's thanked me. That's very, very, very nice to have that. I don't find it easy doing webinars, I have to say, but I do appreciate it if for everyone who's helped me along the way. So thanks everybody. Let me just check. One more's come in. So local client site, they want to rank for 5 main phrases. Wedding photographers, PHY photos, plus the reverse of them, wedding photographers, etc. On one page. You recommend to create 5 separate pages for every term. No, not necessarily. You do what you do. You might need to do 5 separate pages to rank for each of those, but you probably wouldn't. What you would have to do, you'd have to put each of those phrases into Google and see if any of the same pages are ranking for those different phrases. So this one here, you can see this one, howtocatchanyfish.com, is ranking for this phrase, but it's also ranking for this phrase just here. So you would need to do that process to see if Google allows that. You can see here that Google does allow this phrase and this phrase to rank on the same page because they're doing it. So you would need to do that process yourself. Great. Okay, so that's all done. Yes, there will be a replay. So we're all done. Thanks again. Thanks everybody for coming along, sticking through this, and hope you got something out of it. There will be a replay, which will be going up tomorrow, hopefully, and it'll be on the website, but I'll put a post on Facebook and telling you when it's up. All right, so thanks very much. Have a good day and a good evening. Bye-bye.